Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I'm cleaning off my desk while I'm talking to you. It's another episode. My name is Jennifer. I'm your yarn host. Totally tanked my lines. I'm putting stuff away because today's story time. Story time with Cinnamon! Woo! Now, what is this story time? I have story time. I have story time. I got things to tell y'all. You ain't gonna believe it. Y'all ain't gonna believe it. Let me just tell you something, alright? I started a tutorial this weekend. This weekend was Memorial Day weekend. I'm recording this Monday, but you're not gonna see it till like Wednesday. I was like, I'm gonna put up a Sunday tutorial. I started the tutorial. TV was a little bit loud, so I yelled at Mr. Cinnamon and turned the TV down. Because everybody was home. Like, I knew, I just know. You cannot film a tutorial when people are in the house. It don't work. Because either they're telling each other to shut up. There's a whole lot of, shh! Mom's filming! Whole lot of that going on. Okay? There's just a lot of that going on, okay? Or that's when little man's like, I'm gonna be really loud because I want to be in the video, right? So I started the tutorial and I got about this far filming and I was like, wow, you messed up. You messed up a lot. So that's gonna be frogged. The counts was way off. And and this happens sometimes when I'm doing tutorials. In case you don't know, a lot of my tutorials are fly by the seat of my pants tutorials, and I will come on and I will have an idea of what we're doing, and get my mat for my mug. Drinking blue water that does not taste good with toothpaste. You pop that dang door. Boy, you can't live 5 minutes without your mama. You have eye boogers. Alright. Can you close the door? Do you want to go to work with mama? He turned and looked at the door when I asked him to close it. I'm trying to see if I have something again. Oh, he's back out. I'm gonna close the door. See if that lock holds this time. What the heck was I talking about? Oh, see, the second I close it, he wants back in again. He doesn't want to be locked in, but he wants the door open so that he can come and go, and come and go, and come and go. So, alright. When I realized, oh, I know what I was saying. So I do tutorials that's fly by the seat of my pants. Like, I have an idea what I'm doing, but most of the time I just turn the camera on and we go, and we kind of like make adjustments as we go to make it work, right? Which works for my channel because I highly encourage creativity. I highly encourage fudging, which is kind of making it up as you go along, basically. I encourage taking creative liberties with it. I encourage making it your own. I give suggestions on how you can change it up. We always do that in our tutorials. I think it's what makes my channel unique. And that's just the way it goes, okay? Trust me, I'm gonna tell you about this in a minute. Because I know I'm gonna get comments. What happened to your arm? Well, that's part of story time. I promise. So, yeah. I gotta wear my glasses because I didn't wear them yesterday and my vision is horrendous today. So, I gave up on the project. I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to rush and get a Sunday tutorial up. So that means I would have filmed it Sunday, edited it Sunday, uploaded it Sunday to get it up on Sunday. And it was a quick tutorial. It was going to be for a bunting, like an Americana bunting. I was going to use the sparkly yarns we got in Happy Mail this week. It just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. I was going to show you guys on the Prism because that's what I had handy. And because in order to do the project from start to finish, I had pictures of a finished one that I cannot find the finished object. It's in the garage somewhere. The garage is a hot mess right now because my niece moved in with all of her stuff, and that's like basically her storage unit right now. And even though I have a giant garage, there's a lot of stuff in there. So I'm not going in there and breaking my leg stepping on something that Mr. Cinnamon failed to put away because I need to find this one object. So it was going to be a micro tutorial. It was going to be fun, and I was like, we're gonna trash it. I can't do it. Not today, right? So I walked away. This is Sunday, mind you. And I'm like, okay, well, it was a nice day out. So at some point I went and sat on the front porch. I'm trying to remember why. Oh, I know why. Okay. So after that occurred, I'm like, maybe I should just go. I got a lot of nervous energy. Like I need to be doing stuff. Sitting and crocheting is not burning enough energy for me. And so like I've been doing a lot of just little stuff. Like for example, the other day I was doing laundry, cooking dinner, and crocheting all simultaneously. So I would put the laundry into the washing machine, sit down, crochet a couple stitches, go put something on the stove to boil, or like go stir the pot, like whatever. And I'm compounding a bunch of things all at once because that's the way my brain is working this week. Okay, we're taking advantage of the extra energy. And as a matter of fact, we went to go see a movie called If, which stands for Imaginary Friends. It's got Ryan Reynolds in it. Highly recommended. It is a very cute movie. I cried several times. There's a grandma in the movie that she's got short red hair. And so some of the things she was doing in the movie already reminded me of grandma. So I was already crying. And then there's a point where the grandma in the movie used to be a ballerina, which my grandma was not. And I say my grandma, it's Chris's grandma, but like she's my grandma too. She's my kid's grandma. She's just grandma to all of us, okay? She was not a great grandma to them. She was the only grandmother that they've had. Just real talk, okay? So the grandma in the movie was a ballerina as a little girl, and her imaginary friend she forgot about, because when you reach adulthood, you forget about your imaginary friend. The imaginary friend was still hanging around, and she was a cute little bumblebee with ballerina shoes, which made me think of Juju, which also brought tears to my eyes because my daughter used to do ballet, and she's my Juju bee, and like it was all kinds of emotions. And I cried through most of the movie, okay? I'm gonna be real honest. It's like there's a lot going on. My heart is broken still. So I'm watching the movie, and the grandma, the granddaughter in the movie turned on a record that her grandma used to dance to, and the grandma thought she was alone in the apartment and started dancing. And I started crying because years ago, I don't know, it was about 10 years ago. No. It was a little bit longer than that because it was before little man was born, so I'm gonna say maybe 12 years ago. Grandma has been fighting cancer for years and years, like a long time. The type of cancer she had just was always with her and was always going to be with her. And she had to go get a steroid shot while we were visiting. And she said, the steroids, give me a lot of energy and they make me feel youthful. And it was 11 o'clock at night. And I'll be right back. That darn UPS man had the nerve to ring the doorbell. My niece is returning something to Amazon, and they had to official pick up the package. He's all sorry. I didn't realize there was that many dogs in there. It's only 3, but they sound like a whole herd. Like there's a whole packet of wolves in here. And Scarlett barks at the door, and Bentley barks at Scarlett because he doesn't like when she barks at the door. He thinks that's bad girl behavior, so he barks at her, and sometimes will grab her by her scruff and pull her back away from the door. He's moving for alpha, and she's letting him, which is crazy to me because she's always been alpha. But, I mean, dogs are nuts. Alright, so in the movie, the grandma's dancing, right? And I already told you about the steroid thing. So we're in the kitchen, and grandma decides at, I think it was 10 o'clock when she started cooking a pineapple upside down cake. She's all, I think I want a pineapple upside down cake. It was delicious. Her pineapple upside down cakes were the best, and they were in a cast iron skillet, which she's the reason we use cast iron skillets, because cast iron skillets are the best for most foods. I don't cook tomato-based products in my cast iron skillets though, but yeah, cast iron skillets are the best. I'm just gonna tell you, be real honest. If you take care of them properly, they will take care of your family. Just saying. So she made this delicious pineapple upside down cake, and it was perfect. Like, there wasn't like, it didn't stick to the pan because she knows how to take care of her stuff, and it just was perfect. Like, it was beautiful, and it was delicious, warm with a little bit of ice cream on top. 11 o'clock at night now, okay? We just had some pineapple upside down cake. She's standing there with my daughter, who is probably little man's age, and she starts dancing around the kitchen with Juju. And Grandma was one of those people that was just unapologetically herself. She just was who she was, and she did not give a crap what anybody thought. She was not... I'd never seen her dance before. I mean, I haven't known her my whole life, and I've had short visits with her that were like 2 weeks out of the year for a good long time. And sometimes it's been several years since I've seen her because we just have not been able to make it back out there. But I still have that memory of her dancing around the kitchen with Juju, and that scene about took me out in that movie. Like, I cried. And it was so beautiful and touching because it reminded me of that. And Grandma goes, she turns and looks at us. She goes, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she said something about them steroids. And she goes, now in a couple of days I'll be taking a nap, but like right now we got to take advantage of the steroids. And I relate because I've had to be on steroids because of my eczema issue, which I probably need another steroid treatment because I have an eczema outbreak on my elbow that I'm fighting. It's a big patch on my stomach, and both of my ankles are eczema breaking out, so I'm probably due for steroids again. But that first day or two of steroids, like, you get like this boost of energy, and it's amazing because like you can do 100 things, you know. And she just was cute because she was taking advantage of it. She was making pineapple upside down cake, and this is before we knew we had a gluten allergy, and pineapple upside down cake does not it does not exist in the gluten-free world. I could probably figure out a recipe to make one, but it's not gonna be hers. It's not gonna taste the same. Let's just be real honest. But yeah, like, okay, so we went to the movies. We had a really good time this weekend. I mean, we just did stuff, you know. I think we went to the movies on Saturday. I don't remember. So anyway, I'm sitting on the front porch, and I know why I was sitting on the front porch. I keep like skipping back and forth in the story in my own head, so I'm trying to keep track of what I told you already. So the members of the YouTube channel, so the people that pay for membership, they get an extra video every week, and it's usually about an hour long, and it's more in-depth, more really personal type stuff, confessions from me, talking about more personal details. And I was showing them my backyard a little bit, and I was showing the members, the girls bought me a hydrangea for Mother's Day, and I've never had one, and I may have showed it to you guys too. And then I bought the hibiscus I told you guys about that Bentley tried to eat, which is doing fine. Like, he shredded it, but like it's still alive, so I have hope that it's not going to die in my garden. I've never had either of those plants. I grew up in Michigan. We don't have tropical plants that survive, okay? It doesn't happen. But here where I live, like, there's up the road a piece, there is just wild cactus growing on the side of the roads, and it's the little the flat petal cactus, you know, that you can make nopales out of. So we can grow way more things here, and we're in a more hardy zone for a lot of plants than Michigan. Like, it's very limited what you could grow. So I'm in the backyard, and I'm digging because what I did is I built, and this is all in the members video, I have a planter box back there that is between the two decks. And I built a barrier around it because historically Oreo is a digger. Okay, we call her a little digger. She got her own song. Right? She goes in that planter box specifically, don't know why. I think it's because it's fresh dirt. That dirt is not, we have a lot of clay in our yard. And so that dirt is, it's a built bed. So she goes out there, she just digs and digs and digs. And she has dug up everything I have planted in there, and I want to kill her. Because I'm like, if you're a gardener, you already know. Like, don't mess with my garden. And then also because now that deck is open, whereas it used to be enclosed underneath with lattice, all that has been removed. So now the dog's like going under there and running through that garden bed, which is crazy because I put a giant rose bush in there thinking the roses would deter them. Nope. They'll come in with little thorns stuck in their fur. They don't care. They don't care. They like peeing on the rose bush. So it just, my rose likes it, so I'm not going to complain, but I blocked it all off this weekend and it looks very nice. I still have to build a framing for some of the plastic, it's plastic lattice that I used. I need to put some framing on the one side because right now it's just kind of like rigged up. And that has to wait until we paint the deck because the deck needs to be treated and painted, but we had to wait till the weather was warm enough to do that so that the paint actually dried. And with the weather being as warm as it is, like, it's gonna dry pretty quick. So I decided to barrier it off with the lattice, so it's covered on 3 sides with the lattice, and I have a really heavy wrought iron bench in front of it and some potted plants, concrete pots. Okay, so the dogs aren't moving stuff to get in there unless they're crazy and they decide. Bentley's a jumper. He can jump really long distances, like he's a jumper. And I tested it, so I put some pots in that section that I knew Bentley couldn't resist to chew up. The thin plastic pots he loves to eat. And nobody touched anything. So I'm like, okay, I think I'm safe to plant in this area. So I planted the hydrangea and I planted the hibiscus, but I did not plant the lantana because the hydrangea and the hibiscus are going to be bushes. And next to my rose bush, which is already there, it's going to be like really packed. The lantana ain't, A, it's not going to survive, and B, we found out lantana is poisonous to dogs, so we opted on putting the lantana in the front yard in my front little cute little garden bed that we just built recently. And so I moved from the back. I dug the big hole. Mr. Cinnamon threw his back out this weekend. I mean, it's been one thing after another. The AC blew. He threw his back out. I had to help him up the stairs. It's been a whole thing. It's been a slew of events. It's been just compiling. I'm being tested. We're being tested. That's from Footloose. God is testing us. So, you gotta laugh. I mean, it's better than crying, right? You just gotta laugh about the ridiculousness of the stuff compiling on you. Like, it's either that or go crazy, right? So he threw his back out. So I'm digging a hole. Normally he digs. He's my digger. He does all the heavy lifting for me, so I don't have to because I have a bad back myself. I never expected him to throw his back out. And what he was cleaning the kitchen. He threw his back out cleaning the kitchen. I was like, been here, I know how to handle this. I got this. Heat, rest, and then you have to exercise your back just to get everything loosened up. That's just what has to happen when you throw your back out. You got to heat it, rest it, and then work it out. That means you got to get up and move even though it hurts because it lets the muscles loosen up, okay? I have a whole series of exercises the doctor prescribed to me when my back does this, so I got experience. This is my expertise. I can't tell you how many times I have thrown my bag out and just not been able. When Juju was a baby, she was 6 months old and I was in the front yard planting. So I put her in one of those little pumpkin bouncer seats and I sat her in front of the glass screen door, and it was a very small porch with like 3 steps, okay? I could see her from the planting area in my gardening, but she's inside away from the bugs. And her guardian was in there watching her. Day Day was our dog, and Day Day was her best friend from the time she came home from the hospital. Like, absolutely. He was my dog till he saw her, and then he imprinted on her or something. I don't know, but that was his person till the day he died. He was the best dog in the entire world. I have a picture of him, and the girls were 3 and 5. So 3, 3, and 5, the 3 girls. They were laying on him, looking at the stars in my driveway. And it was after, I think, Chris's first college graduation. And they're all laying on him. And he's just completely content with those kids. He was the best dog in the world. I mean, just the best. He was he watched them. Like, he kept them safe. He was her person. She was his person. So, Day Day's right there. She's a little tiny baby in a pumpkin seat. And I'm in the garden planting stuff, trying to make the yard look nice, you know. Brand new mom. Threw my back out, and I could not upright myself. And Mr. Cinnamon was at that time working 2 full-time jobs and going to classes at night. I couldn't figure out how to get in the house. I'm all of 25 years old, and my back was so bad even then. I've had arthritis in my back since I was like 16. Nope. I think it was about 12. I think 12 was the first time they discovered it. Irregardless, I had to crawl on my hands and knees up the concrete steps to get into the house to my child. And then there was a landing by the front door and a step. And I had to, on my hands and knees still, lift her up and slide her towards the couch as I'm crawling on the floor to get the phone that is a regular phone, because we didn't have cell phones back then. Yeah, that was scary. And my mom, who used to live 2 streets over, didn't live there anymore. Like, she decided she'd had enough. After living there for 30 years, she's going to move out. It was crazy. So I'm like, okay, I'm calling Mr. Cinnamon. I'm like, I threw my back out. You have got to come home or send someone over here to help me, because I can't. And I don't remember what happened after that. I don't remember who came to help me take care of her, but like, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And it's just one of 100 times I've thrown my back out. Just could not upright myself. And that's why I told him, I was like, can you upright yourself? And he's all, no, because he's bent over the kitchen table. And I'm sitting there, I'm trying to like rub it out a little bit. I was like, come on, let's get upstairs. Let's just leave the kitchen. Let's just go upstairs. We'll get you on the heating pad. So I prepared the bed for him. You know, I got him upstairs. He luckily didn't throw it out enough that he couldn't get up the stairs, because he'd have been on the couch all night. But I have that really cool recliner couch. So, I mean, he would have been set. And it's got lumbar support. So, and there's a plug. Like, it would have been perfect. He'd have been fine. But anyway, it all worked out. He's okay today. He's still in a lot of pain, but he's back at work. So, he's out there making that paycheck to support his family. So anyway, I dig the 2 holes. Plant the plants, come to the front yard. Now what's really funny, and I don't understand why my family did this, okay? I am back there sweating my butt off, and the back door all of a sudden opens, and I'm by myself. I'm peaceful in the garden. Leave me alone when I'm in the garden. That's mommy's time, right? I'll sit and converse with you while I'm working on crafts, but when I'm in the garden, leave me alone. That's my time with God, if you will. Okay? I'm with, like, nature. My time with nature. Like, all those things, right? That kind of hurt. I gotta stop doing that. We'll get to this, I promise. I don't know why Sunday I had so much energy. I don't know. Like, so much energy. To go to the front yard with the lantana, I plant them. And I was kind of disappointed because I told you guys a couple weeks ago, I planted a bunch of dahlia bulbs. And I planted them late. And they were already starting to sprout in the packaging, because I just couldn't make the time to go plant them. And the weather had been really rainy and crappy for months. And so, I think it was only a couple weeks ago, I planted 5 bags of dahlias. Now, dahlias are expensive, but they're my favorite flower of all times. They don't smell, but God, they're beautiful. And they photograph so well. So I really like taking pictures of my dahlias. I'm really proud of my dahlias, you know. I lost a bunch in the back garden because of the dogs, but I still have one plant out there that it comes up every year, and it's a flower like this big, and it's white and pink, and it kind of has the shape of like a daisy, but like every other petal is either white or red, and like every single flower that comes off of the plant is different. So some will be like pink on this side and white on this side, and some will be every other one is pink, white, more like a fuchsia pink. And there's like this red button center. They're so beautiful, and for some reason they just have not died, but all of my really fancy dahlias have died. And I got all new variety. I planted some in the cement pots in the backyard and some in my front garden. Some of the big dinner plate dahlias that get like this big are in the front yard. I had no sign that they were growing in the front yard. I'm like, what the heck? Why are they not growing? But the ones in the pots in the backyard are doing just fine. And so I went out there with the lantana, and I'm like, all right, I got to be careful and look for any signs of dahlias because I don't know where they're planted. And I still have the sprouts from the tulips that are out there, because those, I don't cut them back. I let them die back naturally and cycle through, you know. And so I'm looking, so I'm avoiding the dying off leaves from the tulips, daffodils and the hyacinths. And I'm looking for signs of dahlia sprouts. Now, I know what a dahlia sprouts look. Dahlias have really dark green leaves, and they're usually kind of sharp and jagged, generally. But it depends on the variety. There's 100 varieties of dahlias. So I'm out there looking like, okay, well, I'm not digging with a tool because I'm not killing a potential bulb underneath there. So I'm digging with my fingers like this, trying to find a hole big enough for the little lantana pots to fit in, you know. And so I found some spots, and I forgot to tell you, I'm digging the holes in the backyard for the hydrangea. The back door opens. Here comes Mr. Cinnamon and both of my biological children. Okay? Because I do have non-biological children. We know this. Alright. I hate this headband. Like, these little baby hairs are getting on my nerves, but this headband is so slippery. It keeps sliding back. I need a rough one. I might have to make one. And they just come out on the back deck and are staring at me. I'm like, why are we staring at Mom digging a hole? Not one of them offered to help, but they just wanted to watch. I'm like, so I made a joke. I'm like, all right, guys, I'm taking the lantana in the front yard. Everybody come with me. This is a field trip. Come on, you want to watch me dig? Let's go. Right? All three of them followed me out the front door and just sat down and like was hanging out while I'm digging, right? I didn't ask for help. I didn't need help. I didn't want help. But it was just hilarious to me that they were out there just watching me. Like, they were all leaning on the deck watching me dig a hole. I'm like, I mean, y'all want to watch me work up a sweat? Let's do this. I gave them a show, let me tell you. We're getting to this. So I get done planting the lantana, and I'm sitting there having a conversation with my husband and my children. And we have been talking about, I have a rhododendron bush at the corner of my yard that blocks off the driveway a little bit. Because when we moved into this house, when we purchased this house, the rhododendron bush was a reasonable size. It was probably only 6 feet tall. It was maybe 4 feet across. It was well within the boundaries of the yard. Okay? It kept growing and growing and growing. Even though we were constantly trimming it, it was still just outgrowing its space. So much so that, like, our front porch is here, and we have a sidewalk here that leads up to the steps, okay? And the rhododendron is right here, and the driveway's right here. So it was overlapping the sidewalk and the driveway. Now, do you remember back in October, the rhododendron tripped me and broke my ankle? Yeah. So it was, and that sidewalk, okay, the sidewalk is at an angle, drains down this way. Okay, so it drains towards the porch, which is stupid, but like, I didn't design it, okay? And there's a flower bed here between the sidewalk and my porch, and there is a spot where before we replaced the gutters would just pour down right there, which means there's a lot of erosion. So there is a gap about this big from the sidewalk and the driveway, and it drops down like this much into the flower bed. dangerous. I have put a big bucket there to prevent anyone from falling, because I've fallen in that hole 100 million times. It's always me, because I'm a klutz, okay? I'm the one that's always fallen. Matter of fact, I fell last week. I slid on a piece of paper that I didn't see on the floor, and I did the splits in the kitchen, and it fell, and I hurt my toe and I bruised it. Just a couple of days ago, okay? Because it was like wax paper or something that somebody missed putting it in the garbage. It looked like packing materials, and it looks like somebody missed putting it in the garbage, and it slid onto the floor. And because it was waxy and it was almost see-through, I didn't see it. I stepped on it. I just went. Okay? I almost felt like I fell in slow motion. Hurt my toe, and I just kind of sat there on the floor just cursing the world, because like, it's been one thing after another. Mr. Cinnamon comes running. This is before this weekend, before everybody's got injured. You know, he's, oh my God, are you okay? Like, I'm fine, just give me a minute, because I hurt my toe, and I'm just really like, why is there paper on the floor? Why is there a piece of paper on the floor? But it was like packing material paper, you know? But it was see-through almost, and waxy. Just slid, took off flying. Alright, so while I was getting my medicine to take, my daily doses of medicine for my heart and all that, right? So I fell backwards, and the medicine went up in the air everywhere. Thank God all the bottles were closed, because my dogs, I mean... So I'm sitting on the porch, and we're talking about the stupid rhododendron bush, and I'm like, my idea was to cut it back to a stub and let it regrow. And I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, that thing is really tall. It is probably, I want to say it's 14 feet tall, easily. When we moved in, it was just above my head. Okay, so maybe 6 feet. I think it was probably 5 feet. I'm almost 6 feet. Like, I'm 5 foot. I'm gonna say I'm 5'9". I'm around 5'9". I think I've shrunk a little bit, but it was right around my height when we moved in 12 years ago. And now it's like 14 plus feet. I don't know. I can't even see. Like, I gotta go upstairs and look down at it to see the top of it. It's so big. It's well above like our bottom, like our porch roof line. It's well above that. And I'm looking at it, I'm sitting on the porch, and I'm like, what do you think if we turn that into a tree? And Mr. Shrim was like, what do you mean? I was like, if we trimmed up the bottom part of the rhododendron and just left the top, it would look like a tree. I've seen this on the internet, but it never occurred to me to do that with my rhododendron. And so he's all, I mean, we can do that. I was like, by the way, do you know where my loppers are? If you don't know what loppers are, they're those big giant clippers with the long handles like this, with the clipper. Like, it's a giant set of pruning shears, but like they got the real long handles. You gotta do that to clip it, right? Like, do you know where that is? Because there's a dead branch on my rose bush I need to take care of, and it's a thick bad boy, but it's dead. Okay, and so I just wanted to lop that off. And I was like, I can't find them, and I'm not going in that garage to look, because you don't put nothing away. Because he does not. His tools are everywhere. Yard stuff everywhere. Just, he knows where it's at. I don't. So, he went in the garage, came out 2 seconds. He knew exactly where they were at. He hands me the loppers. I was like, alright, cool. I never did get to the backyard, and I'll tell you why. Because he's all, I wonder, and he walks over to the rhododendron and just clipped out a huge branch. Because he wanted to see inside to see what we were working with. And he's all, we'll take care of that next weekend. Well, I'm sitting over there with all this extra energy that I need to burn off. So I'm like, just hand me, I'm going to go over there. I'm clipping, right? I'm clipping. I call little man, and I use my damsel in distress thing that works really well with him. Lucas, like, they're so heavy. Can you help me move these branches so I don't fall? Like, if I ask him to do something as a mom, he's no. I don't want to. Why do I gotta do that? If I feign damsel in distress, he always wants to help. So we use that, but we're not telling him we're using that. Okay? Because I did raise a gentleman. I didn't raise an obedient son, but I raised a gentleman. Okay? He's all of 9 years old. He's not done being raised, but like, we're working on it. He's out there, he's moving branches for me. I got the whole back half of the rhododendron trimmed up to a series of really thick trunks. I got rid of some really big branches that were just encroaching over the sidewalk, over the driveway. It was 4 feet over the driveway, and I didn't even realize how much of the driveway was taken over until I was on that side, and I'm clipping. And I hit a big branch. I'm like, oh, I got this, because I just did another. See, if you use your boobs as leverage, and I could have broke my rib doing this, and I know this, and it was probably stupid. So I put it up against underneath my boob, the one side of the lopper, and I grabbed it with the other side. I pulled like that, and it got through the branch. Like, all right, I'm Superwoman. I got this. I'm using boob power. Right? I go to the next one, and it's at a weird angle, so I had the loppers. It hurts. I gotta be careful. I had the loppers this way. Okay? I can't turn my wrist the direction I had it because it's cracking right now and it's hurting. Okay, so we're gonna pretend this arm is upside down like that. Okay, so I had the loppers and I'm pushing, but because my wrist was this way, pushing up, yeah, I got a loud pop right there. Like, I heard it over the chainsaw Mr. Cinnamon has now brought out. A loud pop. And it was right at this bone right here that's on your wrist. So I have a big knot on this side, which you can see some of the swelling right here. I have not been to the doctor. I don't know what I popped or broke or sprained. I don't know. And I'm going to tell you why. When I broke my ankle, I went to the emergency room. It was a $200 copay. They overcharged us by $100 because our copay was supposed to be $100. Mr. Cinnamon even argued with them. That is not our copay for the emergency room. Sir, yes it is. She was a total B word, okay? She's arguing with him. I'm laying in the bed crying because I broke my ankle, right? And she's arguing with him over this stupid video chat thing they do. Well, if you can't afford it, sir, he's all, I can afford it, but I'm telling you that it's not $200. So she's all, well, if it's not $200, we will gladly refund. They refunded us the $100, but they charged us $200, okay? Because they got called out by the insurance company because we reported them. Charged us $200 to go to the emergency room for them to put a temporary brace on my leg. Didn't tell me it was a temporary brace. She just sent me on my way. As soon as she's like, you have I forget what she called it, a torsion tear and break and blah, blah, blah. Okay, she's all, I'm going to give you this and just go about your day. Didn't tell me to check in with the doctor afterwards. So 2 weeks after that, I'm like, this brace thing that this cast they put on me, it's called a sugar cast, was literally falling apart. I was like, I need to go to a regular doctor because I'm still in a lot of pain and I can't walk. I can't bear weight. Go to a doctor. Didn't have a regular doctor at the time. Go to this doctor. He's like, okay, $30 copay on top of the $200 we just paid. He's all, well, I'm going to send you to the osteo doctor across the hall. He's a specialist. He's a $50 copay. And then on top of that, the cost of the cast, because insurance only covers part of that, and they way upcharge you on the price of these things. So instead of paying all those copays to go to the emergency room and stuff, I went to CVS and I bought myself this. It's a cast. They're not going to give me anything better at the doctor. It limits my mobility, and whatever's in there is just going to heal. I just fully believe that. If I still have a problem in a couple days, it's still hurting real bad, I will go to the doctor. But right now, we're just, I don't think there's like sheared off bones. I think because of the way I was twisting it, I think what I did here may be close to something what I did in my ankle, which means I did a really hard sprain that pulled bone back. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario, it's just a sprain. Middle case scenario, maybe I cracked something, but again, as long as I'm careful and I'm mobile, I immobilize it, it should just heal up on its own. It doesn't hurt as bad as the ankle situation did, so I don't think it's a torsion, whatever, but I was twisting while I did it, so I do think it's sprained. Well, the doctor literally cannot do anything for a sprain. I immediately after it happened got into the bathtub with an Epsom salt bath, and it instantaneously bubbled up like this. Like there was a knot of swelling at that bone, which is still there, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was. Like the Epsom salt bath immediately took some of the swelling out, which also tells me it's not a bad break. It's probably a sprain. But I just, you kind of gotta, sometimes when life gets to this extent of just ridiculousness where it's like it keeps compiling, you either break, which I'm not going to break. I've decided I'm not gonna break. I might lose my sanity a little bit. I'm not gonna break. Or you just gotta laugh it off, because like at this point it's ridiculous what's being thrown at us. It's absolutely ridiculous. Update on the rhododendron. Mr. Cinnamon had his chainsaw out at this point, so he trimmed up most of it. There's one branch that is driving me crazy because it's not completely symmetrical. There's one branch that I want clipped off, and then once that's done, it looks like a tree. It's beautiful. And I have 4 feet of driveway back, and we have been walking because we have 3 cars in the driveway. My car and Juju's car, and then behind us is Mr. Cinnamon's vehicle. Okay. And so I have to park over far enough that I'm not in the bush when I get out of the car, because the bush was encroaching so much over the driveway. And then Juju has to pull all the way to the edge. She's got a low car, so it's fine. But she pulls all the way to the edge of the driveway. And we have a basketball hoop out there it's a middle basketball hoop in the ground. So she's got to kind of like pull around and make sure she doesn't hit that with her mirror. And I haven't moved my van over yet, but I went out with Mr. Cinnamon and I came up, and for the first time in 5-6 years, I've been able to walk up along the side of my van without touching that stupid bush. And I was able to walk underneath it like it was a tree, and I was like, this is fantastic. So now we need to power wash the sidewalk, because like all plant life has grown out over the sidewalk, so we need to power wash it. But it's really cute and pretty, so I mean, if you have a rhododendron, you can turn it into a tree. I don't know if you know that. It's pretty fantastic. I forgot to take a before picture, but yeah, it's pretty spectacular. It looks really good. But part of the problem with all of that is, all right, you guys saw this yesterday. This came in my Happy Mail, and every time I show this, I've shown this in a couple pictures, everybody's like, oh my god, what is that yarn? It's amazing. It's Riverton by Allison and May. This was sent to me in that big giant box of yarn from Belgium, from On. Okay. I knew I had to work with this immediately, so I'm working it up in a grandma shawl, but I changed the grandma shawl. It's not called the grandma shawl. I call it the grandma shawl. It's called Barbara Ann shawl. Okay. So I did the star in the middle, and then on the wings, instead of doing the mermaid tail, I did the wings more like, and this has a weird milk smell to it, like the smell of milk. So this needs to be washed. It's giving me a milk smell. So I started doing the wings more like the mulberry street shawl. So this is like morphed of the two together. And then I totally screwed up. I got interrupted, I kid you not, 37 times. It was like every time I sat down to work on this, Mom, can you come outside? Mom, there's a bug on my slide. Mom, I need you in the kitchen. Mom, honey, can you? I mean, 37 times, I kid you not. And I was working on this while doing laundry, while cooking dinner, while putting up my son's water slide, while watching him on his water slide, while getting bugs off the water slide, while helping, I mean, 100 things I was doing while working on this. So the fact that I screwed up does not surprise anybody, right? I decided to switch directions mid-row. And so now this whole section of the shawl is several, but I didn't discover this till I was at the end of the ball. Now, if you know anything about the Mulberry Street shawl or the Barbara Ann shawl, I use the whole ball and then I'm done. And I was at the end of the ball and I'm like, Do I frog back? It was 9 rows at the time. Do I frog back the 9 rows? No, because cinnamon stitches don't frog. So it's a design element. But it kind of works out because this is the bottom of the shawl. So you have, this is the peak that goes in the center of your back. This is the one side where you start going this way. And because it's on a slant, it slants this way. So we have kind of a step off here. Then the step off there. I mean, it's whatever, but it works. We're calling it a design element. So now I need to remember on the other side, because I started the other side already, but is this yarn not gorgeous? Problem is I'm crocheting a lot slower because of the brace. It's limiting my mobility so much that I can't like twist like I normally do to crochet. So I'm thinking about actually crocheting with my left hand at this point. But I have to go pick up yarn today for the new, which I have right here, which I'm not showing you, the pattern from MJ's Off the Hook that I'm testing for her. So I have to go pick that yarn up today. It's at the post office. Ooh, you hear that pop? It just cracked. So we're working on that. But this is probably going to be put aside and not finished until I finish the project for MJ, because, I mean, when you're doing a test pattern for somebody, that becomes the priority above all else. Absolutely. And so if I got to crochet it left-handed, I'm going to crochet it left-handed, because that's just how it is. I cannot wait to finish this and give my feedback and then show you guys, because I don't remember who I was telling, but she, first of all, she designs really beautiful stuff. And she does simple stitches in elegant ways. And I just cannot wait for you guys to see that. She will be releasing that in June, I believe. So, yeah, that's going to be our priority. I wanted to come on and share with you the ridiculousness that is my life lately. Probably a long, really long video, but all that to say, I hurt myself. I hurt myself again. But we're going to be fine. And like I said, please don't give me medical advice in the comments. I'm not asking for it. I don't want it. It's unsolicited at this point. I am a responsible adult, and I promise you, if I have issues with that further than what is, because it feels better today, if I have further issues, I will absolutely go and get checked out. But I really don't think it's anything serious. Motrin takes the pain away entirely, and so that tells me it's not anything serious. And I have broke this arm before. As a matter of fact, I have broke this wrist before, so I think it's just one of those things. But then I was like, Mr. Cinnamon, I really think I need to start taking calcium, because this has been too many injuries in the past 6 months, and I'm just not here for it. I think I need to start taking calcium, because I don't drink milk. I don't necessarily I don't eat ice cream or anything that contains milk. Like, I just don't. I never have my entire life. So I'm over 40. It's time to start taking something, because ooh, that battery is full. All right, guys. I just wanted to share with you my hijinks. The ridiculousness that is my life. Oh, also, further news. I have decided to homeschool my son next year. So I'm looking into and researching that. I know a couple of you had reached out to me and offered if you have any, I don't know about advice, but like, I don't know where to start with homeschooling. Mr. Cinnamon's done a little bit of research. I have not yet, but I'm going to start his homeschooling in September. He usually goes back to school in like the beginning of August, and I'm not here for that, because that's his and my birthday. So we're going to start school in September, and I'm already planning things, because I should probably do a whole video on homeschooling, but I have seen a couple of my friends homeschool, and I can see the benefit of it. And for a long time, I didn't see the benefit of it. I just wanted him to be successful in school and like honestly, I just didn't want to take on the extra work of being a homeschool teacher. I did not want to, but after him being abused and bullied for 6 months and watching what it did to his mental health, I'm not willing to subject him to that in this school district anymore. And because I don't have any other options, homeschool is a good option. And I was already talked to Little Man about it. He's on the fence on how he feels because he really does love socialization. He loves being around other kids. I told him, I said, we will do like a field trip every month to someplace fun. Like, he doesn't have to do just one a year. Like, I can take him on field trips. There's so many educational places around where I live because I live so close to the capital of the United States. And because there is so much history around me because I live in the epicenter of the Civil War, and there is so much just preserved history around where we live. I live not far from George Washington's boyhood home. Never been there. It's not a field trip the school takes, but how cool would that be to take him there on a day trip? Right? So I'm kind of excited about that aspect. How that's going to change for my work with the channel, I don't know. But I have to do what's best for him. Because on one hand, I'm excited that he's 8.5 years away from being an adult, and then we won't have as many worries. I'm also like, he's only got 8.5 years of childhood left, and I want to make it as best as we can. And he's had a hard, rough year, and I don't want him to experience that ever again. I know I still have nightmares about school because of what I went through in school. I am almost 45 years old. I still have nightmares about school because of the abuse I went through in school. I don't want that for him. And I already told him, I said, I will lay down my life to protect you. We're not doing this. We're going to do whatever I see fit to make sure that he's safe and he is healthy mentally and physically. Because, yeah. So, if you're a homeschooler, email me. If you are. I know that Ashley from Stitching It Easy homeschools. And so I might contact her. And I know Kayla has lots of experience with that. Both of her boys were homeschooled. And they turned into very well-adjusted gentlemen. And so I trust both of those ladies when it comes to that, you know. So, yeah. Homeschooling. I'm going to be a teacher. Hopefully, I can set him up. He already has a desk. I can set him up with everything he needs to be successful. We have a little breakfast nook right now in the downstairs area. I can make that his school area so that he has a designated school. And another thing about this that makes me really excited is he is very productive with music. And he always has been, as am I. Like, music just helps our brains to focus. Because I can sing and do other things, and like my brain feels more like centered and focused. I can sing lyrics out of my mouth verbally while counting and keeping track in my head. It's a superpower, really. Okay, so I can count stitches while singing. I can't count stitches while talking because that requires a different part of my brain, but I can sing perfectly and not lose count because my brain actually can see the numbers as I'm counting. So my brain I'll be singing, I'll be looking, but I'm seeing in my brain an actual number pop up in my vision. And I didn't know normal people didn't experience this until I had a conversation with Mr. Cinnamon recently. I was like, you don't see numbers when you count? He's all, no. I was like, I have to trigger that part of my brain to get it to work, but I can trigger that part of my brain to make it work. You know, it's not a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see it, but like if I'm thinking about it, 1, 2, 3, I can see. It's a superpower. Neurodivergence, people. It's also a huge hindrance on a lot of parts of my life, but I can count and sing at the same time. So I was thinking, I was kind of excited about that. I was like, okay, to keep him motivated, he can have his headphones on while doing schoolwork on the computer or in a notebook or something. And it's just, I'm excited about that because I tried telling the school this years ago. I'm like, if you let him have headphones on with music in it, he will not disrupt. He will stay on task. It's not allowed in the classroom. Well, you're idiots for not listening, because, I mean, this could be part of his IEP, but, like, I'm tired of fighting the school district. I'm so tired of fighting the school district. And the school district, let me tell you, this school district is something else. I'm ready to be out of it, okay? The last week of school, one of the teachers at the elementary school in our district got busted for being high on the crystals, while her husband was passed out in the parking lot with their 2-year-old in their car, and he was on the crystals. Okay? The following day, a behavioral specialist for another elementary school in our school district got arrested for beating a kid with a shoe. We've not had a superintendent in our school board all year. I'm ready. I feel like this is the best decision I've ever made in a long time. Like, we're just going to do this. He's going to be homeschooled. He's going to be safe. He's going to be well taken care of. And he's going to be well educated, because even if it's not for me, I don't consider myself, like, I don't have college education. The 3 other adults that are under my roof currently all have college education. So I know they're smart enough people to help. I'm not stupid. I am highly intelligent. I have some subjects I'm way better at than others, but I think we all do. So Mr. Cinnamon and Juju are, well, Mr. Cinnamon is really good at math. Juju is really good and has a passion for English. And my niece is a year away from having her college teaching degree. So if I have any problems, I got people to reach out to for help, right? So we're gonna have a successful homeschooling year. I do feel a little bit bummed because he's gonna miss the DARE graduation, and I loved DARE when I was in the 5th grade. DARE is drug abuse resistant education, that a police officer comes in and teaches the kids about the dangers of drugs and alcohol and gang life and all that stuff. And they graduate from that, but then there's also a 5th grade graduation. He's gonna miss out on all of that, but at the same time, like, he's gonna miss out on being beat up, punched in the head, have an orange explode on his back because it was thrown so hard, getting pushed, getting chased, getting shoved, getting called horrible names. He's gonna miss out on all of that too, and that outweighs it 100 times. We don't stand for bullies. No sir. So yeah, with that, that's a huge life update. I wanted to fill you guys in on what's going on, because there's a lot going on in my life right now, and we're just taking it a day at a time. We're just taking it a day at a time. Today, I mean, I feel fantastic emotionally. Today's a good day. I'm not letting anything bother me. We're just rolling with the punches, you know? So, yeah, we also have some exciting things coming up. We will talk more about that in the future, but there's exciting things coming up in our lives and for the channel. So, I mean, I'm gonna let you guys go because we have talked I didn't realize how long we've been talking, but we've been talking a long time. So thank you for sitting here with me. Thanks for having this conversation with me. I wish I could hear you guys talk back, but I mean, you could pause me right here. I'll pretend like I'm listening. You can talk to me, tell me all about your day. Okay? We'll be like Steve from Blue's Clues. We'll pretend I'm listening. I really do care what's going on with you guys. So, with that, I'm gonna let you go. I don't know what we have planned for the rest of the week, because right now I got nothing. But, actually I just gotta go to the post office first. Like I said, I got yarn sitting in the post office. I gotta go get it. So maybe we'll show that yarn, and you'll have an idea of what yarn I'm gonna be working with. But, yeah, maybe I'll have Juju drive me up to the post office, go get my mail. And I'm going to take some Motrin because I'm hurting. But, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.